Liverpool are one of the more unique teams in the Premier League and have been for some time. Direct and aggressive, they can turn a game on its head in a matter of seconds. But one of the things that makes them most unique is how they utilise Trent Alexander-Arnold. Technically a defender by trade, but a dynamic attacking player. If you want to play like Liverpool in EAFC 24, here's what you need to do. So the first thing you'll want to do is choose a tactical vision, and you'll probably be tempted to choose Gegenpress. That is Jurgen Klopp's brand of football. That is the way that Liverpool play. However, I would advise against that, and I would choose wing play instead. The reason for that is that choosing Gegenpress will restrict you in terms of some of the build-up play that you can perform and the options that you have to choose in the tactics in your actual team management screen. Whereas wing play, you can be a lot more flexible. Liverpool do like to utilise the wings a lot in real life as well, and you can always change some instructions and some tactics to enable your team to press high and press relentlessly anyway, and kind of mimic some of that Gegenpress style regardless of choosing wing play. So for the standard game plan, you're just going to want to set up in a regular 4-3-3 holding formation. In terms of the tactics, like we said, wing play, you're going to want to press after possession loss. 50 width I think is fine, but that's pretty much personal preference. But depth you want to set up fairly high. Liverpool do press high up the field, so 75 seems reasonable for the standard game plan. In terms of the build-up play, you want to set that to balanced and possession. So Liverpool do make a lot of runs in behind, but you can dictate that with the player instructions and with the manual run triggers. So they do, keep possession well when they do win it back with that Gegenpressing style. It's best to set up here with balanced and possession and trigger the runs in behind with the player instructions and with your manual inputs. Nice and wide, 80 width. They don't get too many players in the box, Liverpool, and tend to rely more on pullbacks and players on the edge of the box. So just 6 players in the box, and then 3-3 for corners and free kicks. In terms of player instructions, you want each of your fullbacks on join the attack and overlap. So that's Robertson on the left and Trent on the right. Curtis Jones is my CDM, but whoever you have in that position, you want them to stay back while attacking. I wouldn't give them any other instructions for the time being, except maybe cut passing lanes, which I think is always useful. The left central midfielder are just set completely standard. You can perhaps set them to stay on the edge of the box for the cross. And then the right central midfielder I tend to set to get forward. The wingers, you want Salah to stay forward, but Diaz can come back. That does tend to differ on the personnel. Salah does tend to stay forward. He doesn't come back on defense too much, whereas Diaz does. Whoever you've got in those positions, Nunez, if I had him in a wide position, I would probably set him to stay forward. Probably the same for Gakpo as well. Jota maybe I would set to come back on defense. All depends who you have out wide. I would set them to stay wide and to get into the box for the cross. So stay wide, get into the box. The chance creation is pretty much up to you, as well as the support runs. You can set them to get in behind, which is certainly an option. You can leave that as standard though, and again, kind of trigger those runs manually if you would prefer. Nunez, unfortunately, we are tied into having as a target player. That is one of the drawbacks of the wing play tactical vision. It's not too much of an issue anyway. It does still work out fairly well in that setup. So that's the standard game plan, and Trent Alexander-Arnold will obviously operate very much like a right back in that standard game plan. He will get up the pitch, he will make overlapping runs, but he will very much stick to the role of a right back. Obviously, in real life, we see Trent utilising a slightly different role at times in the Liverpool setup, and he kind of drifts into central midfield in a very inverted position. He kind of picks up positions around the center circle, and he sprays passes here, there and everywhere. So if you do want to operate with Trent in that position, you do have to do a little bit of finagling. You can't really set up any way in kind of the standard setup where Trent will do that. You can set him to make inverted runs rather than overlapping runs. You can also get him to step up, but that's more of a defensive option. So none of these really work to position Trent in that particular role. So what I recommend doing is setting up a game plan on the attacking game plan, and set up a formation here where you can utilize Trent in that particular role. However, as I said, it does take some finagling, so I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do to get Trent in those positions in the centre of the field, and spraying balls to the wingers, to Diaz, to Salah, playing balls in behind for Nunez to chase, and all those kinds of good things. So the first thing you want to do is set the formation, and you actually want to go with a 4-5-1 attack. Now, the formation is not actually going to end up looking like this. We need to move some players around. First thing you want to do is move Diaz and Salah back to wing positions rather than those standard wide midfield positions. Next thing you're going to want to do is move your centre-backs back a handful of ticks. 8 to 10 ticks should do it. The reason for that is you want to make a little bit of room here because you want to move Curtis Jones into a left defensive midfield position, and then you want to move Trent into the right defensive midfield position. And you do need to clear a little bit of room with the centre-backs in order to do that. The next thing is to set the instructions, and you're going to want to start with Trent. So you want him to stay back while attacking. You don't want him to be taking up positions too far up the field. You want him to be sat, around the halfway line, around that centre circle, being able to play passes to the left and to the right. So stay back while attacking. You want him to cover the wing because obviously that right back position is now vacant. So when the opposition gain possession, he's going to want to drop in and cover that position that he has left vacant. And then you're also going to want him as a deep lying playmaker. So who's just going to roam around that area and, take up a space where he can receive the ball to then, pass it forwards. Andy Robertson on the left side, I would still have on join the attack and overlap. So remember, this is an attacking formation. You're going to want to utilize this when you are either pressing to, score a goal because you're behind, or when you're playing against a team you can dominate, and you don't have to worry too much about being open and exposed defensively. So Andy Robertson can join the attack. McAllister and Szoboszlai are just tend to kind of leave as they are. They can just play pretty much as standard, just kind of a free role in those roles forward there. One thing I would do though is put Szoboszlai to get into the box for cross, whereas McAllister can stay on the edge of the box for the cross. In terms of the wingers, you want them both to stay forward, you want them both to get in behind, and you want them both to stay wide. So it should be stay forward, stay wide, and get in behind. You also want them to get in the box for the cross. So that applies to Diaz, and that applies to Salah on the other side. So stay forward, stay wide, get in behind, and get into the box for the cross. Nunez, again, we are tied into having as a target player, which isn't ideal, but it works just fine. But that should be the way that you set up the instructions. Now, the team tactics, again, you're going to want wing play. You are, again, going to want to press after possession loss. And you are going to want to press, again, high up the field. Depth is personal preference, really. But you're probably going to want to press even higher than you are in the standard game plan. Since, again, this is an attacking game plan. Games you are looking to dominate in terms of possession or... trying to regain a goal because you've gone behind. Balanced and possession, you're going to want to set again there. And then 80 width, more players in the box for this particular setup, I would say. But again, you should have McAllister kind of hanging around on the edge of the box there. So fairly similar to our standard game plan, but a little more aggressive. So it looks a little bit funky on the screen there. Obviously a completely asymmetrical formation, a very unorthodox, unusual formation. But this should get Trent playing in that role that we see him playing in real life. And of course, it is just an attacking game plan. You don't have to utilize this for the entire game. You can pop up into the attacking game plan from time to time, drop back into the standard game plan where the team will set up more in that 4-3-3 formation in a more traditional and more standard way. So without further ado, let's have a look at the system in action. So there you have it. That's how you can play like Liverpool in EAFC 24. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. And until next time, take it easy.